Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into something you probably interact with, well, almost constantly, maybe without even thinking about the huge financial world behind it. We're talking about the influencer platform market.
Right.
And just to be clear, we don't just mean the big social media apps themselves like TikTok or Instagram.
No, exactly. We're looking deeper.
We're focusing on the sort of the B2B plumbing, the tools and services that connect brands with influencers.
The management platforms, the analytics, the payment systems.
Yes. All that behind-the-scenes stuff that actually lets brands manage campaigns, see if they're working, track ROI, and handle the money. It's the engine making the whole influencer thing a global force.
It really is the critical infrastructure.
So our goal today is to unpack the Global Influencer Platform Market forecast, specifically looking at 2021 through to 2033. We're using data from cognitive market research.
Good stuff, comprehensive data.
And by the time we're done here, you, the listener, should have a really solid grasp of how big this market is now, where it's headed, and the growth is pretty astonishing. We'll look at the leading regions and maybe some surprising areas that are expanding super fast. Basically, you'll get the big picture on this powerful economic trend.
Sounds good. Let's dive in.
Okay, so let's start big. The global view. In 2021, this market was already worth, what was it, $9.5 billion.
$9.5 billion. Yep, substantial already back then.
But here's the kicker. It's projected to jump to over $14.2 billion by 2025.
Wow, just in those 4 years.
Exactly. And then, looking further out, by 2033, we're talking almost $32 billion. $31.9 billion to be precise.
That's more than triple the 2021 figure. Incredible.
It represents a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 10.61% overall. That's serious growth year on year.
It really is. If you connect this to the bigger picture, these numbers aren't just growth. They signal a huge global shift. It's like we're watching a whole new economic sector just accelerate like crazy. It went from maybe a niche tactic to a core multi-billion-dollar global industry.
Right.
It's not just, brands deciding to try TikTok ads. It shows how fast digital engagement translates into real economic clout. It's changing how businesses reach people everywhere.
So if you're a business and you're not looking at this...
You could be missing out. Seriously missing out.
Okay. So this is global. Let's zoom in a bit. North America, it's been the leader, right?
Yeah, historically the biggest player.
In 2021, the value there was about $3.68 billion. That's projected to hit $5.35 billion by 2025, and then keep climbing to $11.28 billion by 2033.
Still very strong growth.
The CAGR is 9.77%. Now, that's a little lower than the global average of 10.61%.
Yep.
Is that because the market's kind of maturing there, or is it just starting from such a huge base?
That's a really good point. I'd say it's mostly the latter. North America got a head start, right? So the market's more developed. Growth is still really healthy, but you wouldn't expect the same explosive percentage increase you see in markets that are just taking off now from a smaller starting point.
Makes sense.
And within North America, no surprise, the U.S. is the giant. It went from $2.7 billion in 2021, projected to hit nearly $8 billion by 2033.
Wow.
Canada's doing well, too, more than tripling its market size from about $684 million to over $2.2 billion in that same time frame.
Okay.
But what I find really interesting in North America is Mexico.
Oh, yeah. What about Mexico?
Well, it started smaller, around $288 million in 2021, but it's forecast to break $1 billion by 2033, and its CAGR is 11.48%.
Higher than the U.S. and Canada?
Yep. Higher than the regional average, too. It signals a really dynamic market there. Lots of mobile usage increasing, a young population that's very online.
So it's catching up fast. It's not just about the size, but the speed of growth.
Exactly. Velocity is key there.
Okay, fascinating. Let's hop across the pond to Europe. What's the story there?
Europe's also a major player. It clocked in at $2.64 billion in 2021.
Right.
Projected to reach $3.91 billion by 2025, and then up to about $8.5 billion by 2033. The CAGR is strong too, 10.2%, pretty close to the global average.
So quite healthy growth across the continent.
Yeah.
But Europe's diverse, right? Lots of different countries, different digital scenes. What stands out?
Yeah, that diversity is the key thing. You see quite different growth patterns. The big established economies like the UK and Germany, they show really solid, steady growth. Germany is expected to hit over $1.7 billion. The UK over $1.2 billion by 2033. France, Italy, Russia, also significant growth, all looking to be well over $750 million each.
Okay. The usual suspects are strong.
They are. But the really eye-catching story in Europe, for me, is Spain.
Spain. Why is Spain?
Its growth trajectory is just steeper. It started at only $155 million back in 2021.
Relatively small, yeah.
But it's projected to shoot up to over $610 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 12.06%.
Whoa, that is high for Europe. Higher than the regional average, even higher than Mexico's.
Exactly. It suggests something specific is happening there. Maybe a really fast-growing local creator scene or certain platforms taking off particularly well. Unique digital trends compared to its neighbors.
Interesting. Any other European highlights?
Well, Scandinavia and Switzerland are also showing robust growth. Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, they're all projected to have markets worth several hundred million each by 2033. Sweden, over $370 million. Denmark, over $500 million. Switzerland, over $400 million. Their KGRs are strong, too, mostly between 9% and, well, Denmark's is actually up around 12.46%, so variability there, too.
Okay.
Even smaller places like Luxembourg started tiny, like under $40 million, but expected to nearly triple. So it shows this growth is widespread.
Got it. So Europe, solid overall, but with some real standouts like Spain showing accelerated growth.
Precisely. And the rest of Europe category also has a high CGR, over 12%, showing growth isn't just concentrated in the biggest names.
Okay, now, this is where you said it gets really interesting. Asia Pacific.
Ah, yes. APAC. This is the growth engine, no question.
The numbers certainly suggest that. It holds the highest overall regional key AGR. Revenue grew from about $2.06 billion in 2021 to $3.25 billion by 2025, and it's projected to hit almost $8.2 billion by 2033.
8.18 billion, yeah, a huge number.
And the CAGR, a whopping 12.22%, the highest regional rate. So what's fueling this fire?
It's a combination of things. I mean, first, just the sheer scale population size. Then you have rapidly increasing internet access and critically massive adoption of mobile-first internet use.
Mobile is key.
Absolutely key in APAC. You see China leading the region in terms of dollar value. It started at $688 million in 2021, projected to reach nearly $2.93 billion by 2033. That's a 12.74% CAGR.
Very strong. Japan.
Japan's also showing solid expansion from about $400 million to over $1.37 billion, about 10.8% CAGR. Still very healthy.
Okay, but you mentioned an aha moment.
Right, India. This is arguably the single most striking trend in the entire global forecast.
Only one.
India shows the fastest CAGR globally, not just in APAC, but worldwide.
Wow. What's the number?
It's an incredible 13.48%. The market size goes from $250 million in 2021 to nearly $1.15 billion by 2033.
That's more than quadrupling.
Exactly. It's a phenomenal growth. And it speaks volumes about India's digital transformation. You know, a massive young population coming online, data becoming much cheaper, and the huge popularity of local and regional content, especially short-form video.
Perfect storm for influencer marketing.
Absolutely. It signals a major shift, not just in marketing spend, but in the next wave of digital consumers and creators is really going to explode.
So India is the one to watch globally.
Definitely. But don't count out others in APAC. South Korea is projected to reach over $680 million by 2033. Australia, over $610 million. Southeast Asia as a whole is growing fast too, around 12.37% CAGR. Singapore, Taiwan also showing good growth. It's just a really dynamic region overall.
Incredible. The scale of change in APAC is just immense. Okay, so we've covered the big three regions. What about the rest of the world? South America, Middle East, Africa. Does this trend reach there too?
Oh, absolutely. The growth is truly global, even if the starting market sizes are smaller.
Let's take South America. It went from around $494 million in 2021, projected to hit $1.75 billion by 2033. That's an 11.12% CAGR. Pretty strong.
Very strong. And Brazil is the leader there, no surprise.
Right. Brazil goes from about $200 million to over $780 million by 2033. That tells you something, doesn't it? Even with economic ups and downs, digital engagement just keeps pushing forward.
Definitely. And you see good growth in Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile, too. It's widespread across the continent.
Okay. How about the Middle East?
Another region with strong upward movement. It was $400 million in 2021, forecast to grow to over $1.4 billion by 2033. CAGR is 11.26%.
Also above 11%. Saudi Arabia leads there.
Yes, Saudi Arabia is the largest market, going from $157 million to over $567 million. But actually, there's another standout there, similar to Spain and Europe.
Oh, really? Which country?
Qatar.
Qatar. Interesting.
Yeah, it showed one of the highest KGRs within the Middle East, 12.69%. It's projected to reach over $86 million by 2033.
Why Qatar, do you think?
Could be a few things. High internet penetration, High disposable income leading to a quicker adoption of digital commerce, maybe specific government pushes or big events boosting digital activity. It shows growth isn't just in the biggest population centers.
Good point. And finally, Africa.
Africa started from the smallest base, about $256 million in 2021. It's expected to reach $833 million by 2033. The CAGR is a bit lower, 9.69%, but still significant growth.
It leads there.
It's interesting. Nigeria is projected to see slightly faster growth, reaching $264 million by 2033 with a 10% CAGR. South Africa will likely still be the larger market in dollar terms by then, around $299 million, but with slightly slower growth at 9.02% CAGR.
Okay, so looking at these sort of emerging digital markets, South America, Middle East, Africa, what's the big takeaway when you see them all growing like this?
Well, it really hammers home how universal this digital shift is. These regions might be starting from different points, but they're all adopting these platforms and this model rapidly. It highlights that leapfrogging effect we sometimes see, where areas might bypass older tech stages and go straight to mobile-first digital engagement.
Right.
So the influencer economy isn't just a Western or East Asian thing. It's powered by smartphones and data access becoming more common everywhere. It tells us where future growth in digital consumers and creators will likely come from. There are huge opportunities for businesses that get in early.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground, a lot of numbers. Let's try and synthesize this. For someone listening, trying to make sense of the global digital scene, what does all this data really mean? Why should they care about these billions and percentages?
That's the crucial question. I mean, what this data paints is a picture of a fundamental change in how businesses connect with people and how people connect with information and, well, commerce. It's moved way beyond just traditional ads. The sheer size of this market, over $30 billion projected, and the steady growth everywhere. It proves influencer platforms aren't some fleeting fad. They're baked into the digital economy now.
So for businesses,
For businesses, it means that's where the eyeballs are and increasingly where the marketing money needs to go to be effective. They have to figure out how to work within this ecosystem.
and for creators.
It's a massive, booming opportunity, a chance to build a real community, share what they're passionate about, and actually earn a living from their influence and content.
And for just, the average person listening, the consumer.
Well, for you listening, it means more and more of the information you get, the entertainment you consume, maybe even the stuff you decide to buy, is being shaped by these digital creators and the platforms they use. It's reshaping how value is created and shared online. Digital influence isn't just talk, it's a measurable, powerful economic force.
It really is quite something. What an incredible overview. Just to recap the highlights, we're seeing this global influencer platform market skyrocket from nearly $10 billion in 2021 to potentially over $30 billion by 2033.
Huge leap.
North America is the current leader in value, but Asia Pacific is the absolute engine of growth, right, with that incredible CAGR.
Yep, 12.22%.
And India stands out globally, fastest growth rate anywhere at almost 13.5%.
The one to watch for sure.
Plus those surprising pockets of rapid growth, like Spain and Europe and Qatar in the Middle East, showing unique dynamics at play. It's clear this isn't just about posting pictures, it's a major economic shift.
Absolutely. And, thinking about this immense financial growth, this projection towards $30 billion plus, it does make you wonder. It raises a bigger question, maybe for you to think about after this. Beyond just the marketing aspect, what broader societal or economic shifts do you think these huge numbers really reflect? And how might this continued explosion of influencer platforms reshape how we all get information, how we form opinions, how we make decisions, not just as shoppers, but maybe even as citizens over the next decade?
It's pretty wild just how much social media is, well, part of everything we do now. Like when you're looking for a new product or maybe a service, even just, I don't know, a recommendation, your online world often points the way. And, behind that viral trend or the review that finally gets you to hit buy, there's usually this pretty complex system working away. So today we're doing a deep dive into this huge shift happening in the global influencer platform market. These aren't your old school ad agencies. Think of them more like the tech backbone. The software, the services, automating everything, finding the right creator for a brand, tracking if that partnership actually leads to sales. It's all in there. And it's really changing how brands are connecting with, well, with us.
With you. So our mission, yeah. Let's unpack what's really pushing this explosive growth. What are the big hurdles, the pressures, and maybe touch on some surprising trends. We're talking AI, authenticity. What does all this influence stuff actually mean for you today?
It's the speed, I think, that's really striking. Just a couple of years back, influencer marketing felt, well, experimental for many brands, a side jet. But now,
Yeah.
they're looking at projections. Something like, nearly $25 billion globally by 2025. It's huge. And this isn't just another marketing channel opening up. It feels more fundamental, like a real shift in how digital trust works, how we decide what to buy online.
Wow, $25 billion. That speed definitely sets up the big picture, doesn't it? So influencer marketing isn't some niche thing anymore. It's
Yeah.
kind of mainstream. Brands are kind of scrambling for ways to connect that feel more real than just another banner ad. So how exactly do these platforms help make that connection happen? What's their role?
Oh, they're absolutely essential. They're the intermediaries, providing these quite sophisticated tools to find creators, first off, then to engage them, manage the whole partnership smoothly. But maybe the real value add, the thing brands really need, is tracking performance down to the detail, and crucially, showing some kind of measurable ROI. Return on investment. Because connecting this back, it's like you said, it's not just finding someone with 1 million followers anymore. It's about tapping into trusted voices, especially when, trust in traditional ads is, well, pretty low. We see data showing that a recommendation from a creator someone genuinely follows and trusts, that can be way more powerful than a standard ad.
A trust point is key.
Right.
And it connects straight into another massive driver here. Just the sheer number of social media platforms out there now. I mean, you've got channels like TikTok that just blew up seemingly overnight, shaking everything up. But then established players, Instagram, YouTube, they keep evolving too. So how does all this fragmentation, I guess, how does that create opportunities for brands?
Well, it creates this huge kind of fragmented playground, right? But that fragmentation means brands can get incredibly specific. They can pinpoint niche communities like never before. And these platforms, especially the visual ones, they're just built for influencer campaigns. They allow for really creative storytelling, that sort of real-time interaction. It helps build, a deeper connection than just blasting out an ad. So this diversification, it's not just about reaching more eyeballs, it's about smart positioning. Whether you're targeting a tiny niche group or a broader demographic across fashion, beauty, travel, lifestyle, you name it, it allows for real precision.
Precision, yeah, I like that. But okay, well, it's growing like crazy. It's not all smooth sailing, right?
Yeah.
One big challenge must be, well, just how crowded the space is getting. Market saturation, competition heating up, with more businesses jumping in, more creators, more agencies. How's that affecting things like pricing, or even just the value people see in these services?
You've definitely put your finger on a major constraint there, that saturation. It absolutely leads to pressure on pricing. And yeah, maybe a bit of a commoditization risk for some services. It becomes harder to stand out. Which, it raises a really important question. How do brands find the truly meaningful influencers, the ones who will actually move the needle? And how do they make sure their campaigns actually have an impact when there's so much noise? So the pressure on the platforms, on the agencies, it's immense. They have to constantly innovate. They have to deliver results you can actually measure. They need to prove their value constantly. And all the scrutiny around, is this campaign authentic? Did it actually perform? It makes data absolutely critical. Data-driven decisions aren't just nice to have anymore. They're essential to survive. It's not just about views. It's got to lead somewhere.
Yeah. Exactly. Conversions, outcomes. Which takes us nicely to the cutting edge stuff, the trends really reshaping things. First one, authenticity. You hear this word everywhere, but it seems consumers really are leaning towards more relatable, real world content, moving away from those super polished, maybe slightly fake feeling ads we used to see. How are brands actually changing how they pick influencers or work with them because of this?
Yeah, they're definitely adapting. Brands are starting to prioritize creators who have that genuine connection, that resonance with a specific audience, even if maybe that audience is smaller. And that's exactly where micro and nano influencers really shine. These are creators with, say, maybe 1,000 followers up to maybe 100,000. For anyone who's been watching this space, you'll remember when it was all about the massive macro influencers, millions of followers. Yeah. But the big shift here is in value perception. These smaller creators, fewer followers, but often much higher engagement rates. Their followers feel a more personal link, more trust. So brands are actually shifting significant budget towards them. It's kind of counterintuitive, but it works.
Right. So it's that deep, engaged, and winning out over just raw numbers. That feels like a really significant shift.
Okay. And well, you can't talk about the future or precision without bringing up AI. artificial intelligence. Its role seems to be getting bigger, especially in matching brands and influencers. It's not just about finding famous people, is it? It's more algorithmic. How are these AI tools changing the game for finding the right collaborator?
Oh, AI is definitely becoming a game changer. It's crunching huge amounts of data, for really precise matchmaking. It looks at audience engagement patterns, demographic overlaps, even analyzing past content to predict brand fit. It's getting sophisticated. The whole idea is to, well, minimize wasted ad spend for brands, make every match count. And actually, this ties straight into another big trend. Performance-based compensation. It's becoming much more common. Instead of just paying for a post based on follower count, payouts are increasingly linked to actual results. Things like clicks, conversions, even actual sales generated, not just eyeballs. That's really interesting because all these trends together, the authenticity push, the rise of micros, the AI matching, the performance pay, it feels like it's pushing the whole ecosystem towards being more accountable, more results focused.
Exactly. Greater accountability.
And maybe more focused on what the consumer actually wants or responds to at the end of the day. It's about real outcomes.
Okay, so let's recap. We've covered quite a bit. We talked about the huge growth in this influencer platform market, really driven by social media just being everywhere. We looked at the tough parts too, the competition, the need for authenticity, the pressure to prove value. And then we explored these really transformative trends, AI making things precise, micro-influencers having a big impact, and this major shift towards paying for performance. So what's the takeaway here for you listening? Well, whether you're just scrolling your feed, maybe looking for your next buy, or even thinking about creating content yourself, understanding how this all works, it gives you a bit of an edge, right? Helps you see how digital content works, how brands are trying to connect with you. Yeah, and maybe a final thought to leave you with, as that this AI gets smarter and smarter at matching brands and influencers. And as compensation gets tied ever more directly to actual sales, how might that change your own experience online? Will the stuff you see become hyper-tailored, super relevant? Maybe. But what could that mean for just stumbling across something new unexpectedly, that sort of serendipitous discovery? Or even what does influence itself start to mean in that world? Something to think about.